Ready. Play.
But he manages to get it pretty deep to Sinner here. Jannik missing into the net. Both the boxes of the players, they don't really seem to invest it at this stage. I mean, everyone is kind of knows what's going to happen, but the question is when, and is it going to be now? Sinner, huge serve. Machac will not be able to get it over the net. So it is 6-4, 6-2, Jannik Sinner as he makes the semifinals. And now, well, the ball was in his court here, as I said, after Machac won the previous game. But now the ball is in Daniil Medvedev's court, and we will see if he will be able to beat Nicolas Jarry and secure that semifinal with Sinner, which would be their second match in Miami, after last year's final. So, hello, Joe.
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on.
I will.
Now I can hear you. Okay. Where was that match won and lost? Bearing in mind, I think I saw about 6 points from the entire match.
Honestly, in the quality gap between the players, like Machac knew that he was gonna have to just play even more proactive than usual, take the ball even earlier. He was making a lot of errors, but they were just coming from what he needed to do in this match in order to have a shot. I think for this style, for this sort of brand of tennis, his +1 forehand is kind of not good enough. Like many occasions where he has a big serve, but then he either can't really do anything from that position, just we start playing neutral anyway, despite a good serve, or he tries to go for a bigger forehand, but then he drops control over it. So, yeah, I mean, he kind of couldn't do better than he did today, I think. I mean, obviously, he could have had a better day at the office, as in red line completely. But even that maybe wouldn't be enough. It's just a pretty big quality gap, and he tried his best to take the racket out of Sinner's hands, but that just resulted in a lot of errors, obviously.
I was interested to hear or see in the chat earlier about Sinner's quite kind draw. I think O'Connell is probably the one that stands out at that stage, the fourth round. I mean, you could argue Machac as well here in the quarters, but if you beat Rublev en route and Andy Murray, and I'm just trying to think who else Machac beat, but then it was probably the O'Connell one that stood out for me as being particularly soft. I know you highlighted Griekspoor, and by the way, there's been a few bumps in the road for Sinner. There was no jeopardy. I guess there was a bit of jeopardy today with the rebreak, but some of the earlier rounds when he's obviously dropping a set to Griekspoor, and I think it went very deep in the second set, so he was obviously just a few points away there. And then he was down a break early on against O'Connell, but once he gets that back, it never felt down. But I was thinking earlier, though, regarding the draw, I don't really know whether it's Medvedev or Zverev that you would really want to avoid. Maybe for Sinner, it's Zverev, maybe.
No, it's still Daniil. I don't care I don't care about the fact that they played, 4 times in a row and Sinner won, right? But it's been some close matches between them, and simply he's the better player, Medvedev or Zverev, he's the better player, Daniil. So I don't buy into this, despite the head-to-head being sort of turned around recently. I still don't think Daniil is someone who Sinner will be excited to play. He will still feel okay, this is my match. This is a guy that can absolutely match what I do. I don't think he would have quite the same idea going into a Zverev one. But obviously, yeah. Also, there's the fact that if you look at the draw beforehand, before the tournament is played out, you expect Medvedev to make it to the semis, whereas Zverev you're not sure about. So, and we still actually can't be sure about Zverev. I mean, he plays Marozsan, the giant killer,
and nor Medvedev, I guess. I mean,
and nor Medvedev, yeah. I mean, Jarry
making the favor, but
fantastic top 10 record as well. I mean, Jarry obviously it's not Fabian Marozsan fantastic, but he also has
no one else
a few more matches. He also has a few more matches. It's I don't know, 10, 12. I would have to check. I can do it actually very quickly, but it's a very good top 10 record. It's Jarry and Umberto basically.
Do it while I remind the audience that I think it's a year now unbeaten for Sinner against Medvedev, which of course is only 4 matches, but it's interesting that it's exactly a year since Medvedev went 6-0 against him. I say exactly a year, not quite probably to the day.
They didn't play until Beijing then, right? So
yeah, right. Yeah.
I'd say it's more 6 months.
yeah. But I'm just But anyway. It's just I just remember that you did the commentary. Funny enough, because I just arrived in Portugal
I did,
that
yeah.
particular day when you did the commentary for that final, and
Because of
I
Mario.
I thought you were on your own, but
I
you
think
might
it
have
was
been
of
with.
Mario.
Yeah, yeah. What was the head-to-head, by the way, for Joey?
For Jari against the top 10, it's 9-11, so I was almost
9/11.
right. Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty much like Umber type of stat. Like I know it's not even 50%, but like that's what you expect against top players for someone like Jari or Umber. If they are at like 45, that's awesome. That's like amazing. Yeah.
Sure. Where does this result leave Mahac, as we head over onto the clay?
Top 50 debut. Still quite a lot of time to gain points because like the huge results. I mean, he's going to be defending a Houston quarter, but the huge results that he really has to defend is like September, first and foremost. I mean, he made the final in Cassis, he loses to Mattia Bellucci, and then he wins the back-to-back challengers in France. And these were pretty big. One of them over Draper, one of them over whoever in the final that I don't remember right now. And basically maybe over Arthur Ferry, actually. So I think both Brits. But when it comes to that, like that's really the only month when he has, a ton of points sort of just stacked up. So Mahac still has a lot to gain for the next few months. I don't know if particularly on the main tour he's going to be that dangerous on clay. I would probably say no. However, you still have events like Madrid. And again, he's like not really losing that many points. So it's very likely that Mahac will keep rising in the rankings, at least a little bit. Of course, not winning this match kind of hurts because if he did, like he realistically could have been a seed for Roland Garros at Wimbledon. Right now, it will still require a lot of big results to get there, about 200 points, let's say, gained. But yeah, I mean, it's still fantastic for him to get to the quarters. Clearly, that was the max that he could have done this event. With Sinner in there, yeah, I mean, if it was Greek sport or if it was O'Connell, right? If Talon beats Sinner, we'd be talking about it differently. We'd be talking about Mahac being the favorite against either player, a really prohibitive one against Chris as well. Against Talon, probably closer to 50-50. But yeah, I mean, if you get Sinner in there, it just seems that Ghosty is actually asking about this, like how far is Jannik from that inevitability? I don't remember how he called it exactly, but like yeah, from that sort of feeling when like he has to be in the semis of every event. And Sinner is kind of the player right now who has the most of this on the tour. It's not Djokovic this year. It's not Medvedev, although he's close, and it's not been Alcaraz for a while. He might be very soon. He might be during the clay swing. He might be more so than Jannik. But at least on hardcores, the past, let's say, 6 months, it's actually Jannik who gives you the most confidence that he's going to get there. Because, yeah, since Shanghai, he's lost to Alcaraz and Djokovic only. And if we sort of take it a bit earlier than that, right? I mean, US Open, Zverev, Shanghai, Shelton, and Alcaraz Djokovic. Like that's his only losses since the US Open. So it does show you that yeah, he's just not losing matches like this, and it's not particularly close either. I know what you mean about Talon, about that third round, but I just mean that at 5-all in the first, it did feel like a bit of a random game. And then in the second set, like Hicksport never really had any shot. He fell into trouble at 4-5. He actually climbed out of this. At 5-6, he didn't. But like these were the two games where the scoreboard pressure, just gets to him and stuff. But before that, like it was really just that one game that he managed to prevail in. Of course, given the fact that he was also saving a lot of breakpoints and just winning, his holds, he managed to get himself into a decent position. Yes, he was 7-5 and 5-all, but he was never really that close. Let's just say that.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.